Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Now, why good morning? It's the middle of the night. It's 10 o'clock at night. Because there are people in Eretz Yisrael that watch the shir in the morning, and I don't even say good evening anymore. It's either good vacha, good morning. Rabbi said today is a tremendous simcha for me. I don't know if everybody knows. As I was coming, I was 38,000 feet in the air, and my wife texted me. She said we had a granddaughter. So it's a tremendous simcha for me. Yes, there was a little bit of my son came in 2 days ago in middle shir, and he said Mazel Tov, and we did the whole Reb Hershel Schechter shtick where I said no, I'm in the middle of the shir, but most people thought I really had a granddaughter or a grandson. I don't know what they thought, and they wrote me emails thanking me, and so now it's for real. It's for real. I was mevar. I have pictures, the whole thing. So Yishkoyach. Thank you for having me. We are live in Chicago in the Adas. This is the room right here where it all started. Hold on, I'm going to stop. I'm going to wait.
Put on your volume.
I'm going to wait. Thank you.
They can't hear you, by the way, on Zoom.
Okay, great.
Tell them to go on YouTube.
This is the room where it all started, right here in the Adas. I gave a shir in this room for 8 years. 8 years. One of the Talmidim, I shouldn't say Talmidim, Talmud Chaver of mine, Shui Davis, is here tonight, so it's a big zechus. You know what? Let me show the Olam what it looks like a little bit. Here, this is the room.
No else?
No else. It's Chicago. It's a little dark outside. Yeah, that's Shui, the guy looking away. Very good. So, it's a tremendous zechus to be here. 8 years in this room, started with 5 guys, went to 30-something on Brachas Daf Beis, and Brachas Daf Gimel 25, Daf Zayin back to 5, and we cruised through Shas like that with 5-6 guys right here in the room. And I say this all the time. So what's the difference between today and, 15 years ago? It's the same person. I'm the same Eli Stefansky, but I put in a lot less effort. I used to prepare the shir during Shachris upstairs, during maybe an hour worth of effort, and you get what you pay for. Put in an hour, so we had 5 guys. Put in more hours, it's more guys.
You unmute, Eli? It says the host will let you unmute.
Okay. A lot of technical difficulties. I'm sure Gershon is feeling great right now. Even in Chicago, they can't put it together. And everybody's hard on Gershon every day. There's other stories, but here, we can't even get simple Wi-Fi going here. All right. So, l'schus Chicago, I wanted to read to you real quickly, a beautiful poem that somebody just sent me, I think it was yesterday. I just have to be careful. I didn't have time to edit it. He really didn't want me to read it, but I insisted that I read it, and I'm going to try to make sure that we don't know who he is. Good morning, Rabbi Isai. It's how we start each day, waiting to hear you explain the daf in a unique and fun-filled way. The charts, the jokes, and stories keep us all awake. There's so much effort you put in, you never take a break. You say you don't know math or even how to spell, but how to ignite every soul with Torah, that you know quite well. From the hardcore Tziyonim, Chabadniks, and Morax Jews to a Haisa Satmar Chussid with completely different views. From a Balabas who takes the train to and from the city to a young man who went to work and doesn't learn a word, what a pity. From a Rosh Yeshiva who doesn't want to say, to use his name, someone just becoming Jewish will connect with you just the same. I've seen firsthand 100 times, and I know that you have too, the Achdus and Havas Chinam and MDY, no matter the type of Jew. The movement that you started, Avodah Zarah Daf Chavches, you give your whole being 24/7, you never take a rest. It's all about me, Rabbi Isai. No, it's a beautiful, I think it's a very, very nice poem, even though it has a little bit to do with me. The credit goes not just to you, of course. No man truly stands alone. Gracious Chayil Fegi, with whom you've built your beautiful home. Gets half the credit, you said so yourself. I can't recall what cheer. I'll give you both the birchas hedyot, so please just bend an ear. Your life together should be filled with real happiness, peace, love, and health, nachas for doiras, and of course, continue wealth. May you continue to teach Torah to the masses. It's clear what you love, and may you see such much siyata d'shmaya from the one above. The critics are running out of runway. There's nothing left to say. You perform to make learning exciting each and every day. They make fun of the merch, I'm sure, but what they fail to see is the pride each one of us has that we're all family. We all have hoodies and baseball caps. Who needs another shot glass? But the merch connects us all together, and the MDY socks add class. The chizuk that you give us all, the strength of us to succeed, is nothing short of chesed shalemes, and it's something we all need. To be a part of something so big that it all spans the earth so wide, to be here together for Shabbos, all brothers side by side. I know that you couldn't imagine just how powerful this could be, what impact you can have on life. I know it's not just me, but I'll tell you my story. I'll try to make it rhyme. And Bekitzer here, I have to skip around. He had a little bit of an afila in Ruchnias. Then one day in June, my best friend's father died, and he decided that he's going to learn the Daf Yomi. Which year should I join? I never had a doubt. The ads for join mdy.com, I just had to check it out. The first year I saw was at the wedding of your oldest son. I was amazed at your dedication and relatability. My journey had begun. No matter how far I felt, there was one thing I did each day. I'm not going to read the rest. The constant connection I had through you, I'll never know. You'll never know the true impact, but things would be very different without you. Not my opinion, it's a fact. Slowly things got stabilized, but I found a new routine, not really diving and learning. Blah, blah, blah. I can't read that. Okay, blah, 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 blah. You had enough of this? The whole long fancy poem I meant to read, to be honest, I wasn't ready. And you know that I'm just one of 10,000 Jews whose lives have been bettered. For the rest of my life, I really hope in some way we are always tethered. Nachamol. Listen to this. Nachamol. And know that I'm just one of 10,000 Jews whose lives you have bettered. For the rest of my life, I really hope in some way we are always tethered. So I can continue to ride my ups and downs, and I don't have to fear, because I know no matter what, I'll always have Rebelli's Daf Yomi shir. Yisroel. Oh, and now, Rabbi Sai, we have to go to the sponsors. After all that, if I could get to them.
Verizon.
Hold on. Gewaldig. We have the hecklers here. It's unbelievable. Chicago is unreal. All right. The sponsor of Chodesh for the Koilol is anonymous in the zechus of Hil ben Saradina, Rivka Basfega, the should be zechus to Zer Shekayama. Amen. And finally, for the very, very first time, somebody sponsored the Koilol for a day. And this should give other people the rotten to do so as well. As a zechus for good health, and Psuras Tobias for myself and our whole family. I don't know what it is. Paras HaChodesh, friends and family, Refuah Shlema for Yaakov, Yehuda, and Gittel. Paras HaChodesh, Bresler, Austein, Rosenberg, Schulman, and Tobias families. L'schus, Refuah Shlema for Yeshiva, Rabbi Yisroel, Meir, Dovid, Ben, Yocheved, Druck, Shlita. Paras HaChodesh, by the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood, New Jersey, because Torah is the best gula. Paras HaChodesh, Chodesh Nisan, sponsored by Eli. Liran Taieb, Dov Pinchas, Ben Moshe, Olav Shalom. Liran Taieb, Yaakov Family, Bas Dov Pinchas, Olav Shalom. Liran Taieb, Chil, Shrag, Ben Ahron Fraiman, Olav Shalom. Paras HaChodesh, Ahron Fraiman. This is the final part of the Chodesh Rabbi Sai. The schos parnasa and siyat shmai continue. That's love the rebellion. Yagudaev Family, Meir, Bas Brocha Bramov, in honor of their son and in honor of the son Chesky's birthday. Anonymously, in honor of Liran Taieb for continuing his Yeshiva studies and beginning his IDF service. Refuah Shlema, Liza, Leah, Mazel Tov, Zechariah Family, Hatzlacha, and by the Price family, Mazel Tov official in Sarah Lee Grows on the marriage of their daughter. I guess I missed it. It's tonight? Mazel Tov, that's right. I was invited 45 times. He really wanted me to come to Baltimore. I just arrived here in Chicago, literally 2 hours ago. So Rabbi Sai, here we go. As you know, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has his plans and his ways. I was on vacation skiing in the Alps, trying at least to ski in the Alps, and Akash Baruch Hu gave me some of the most technical dapim. You'd think you get some vacation daf, some God to something, nothing. Just dapim with 30 charts of daf. Here's no difference today. Today is not so much it is. We veer a little bit off of the Yevamos topics, but real Shas topics. And we're going to start with this chart right over here. So what we have, you got to get rid of this guy. Okay, here we go. Let's just go like this. Fine. Excellent. So yesterday we had in the Mishnah as follows. We had three Baldwin brothers, Reuven, Shimon, and Naphtali. They were married to three strange sisters. Not sisters at all. Did I say strange sisters? Okay, 5 a.m. 3 strangers. 3 different women. You have Batya, Bat Ayin, and 5 towns. Oh, here he is. Shalom Aleichem. Gary, next screen we had. Okay. Then one of the brothers, Reuven, dies. He goes sideways. And here's the case. Boys, you ready? Shimon. What happens is, this is out of control. Mamish out of control. So one of the brothers dies, and that means that and he died without children. That means his wife goes liibum. Instead of being miyabim, the wife, Shimon, performs maimer. Maimer means he gives kesef kiddushin, he gives money. Okay, what status does Batya have to Shimon now? Midaraisi, you're not supposed to give money. You're supposed to be miyabim, chalitza. So he did yibo. Now the second guy dies, and the Mishnah says what happens is when the second guy dies, both the second guy's wife fall yibum and the first guy's wife fall to yibum. To who? To the leftover brother. The problem is that the first guy's wife, Batya, the one in red, she falls to the final brother, the guy with the frack and the Hamburg, the Chashav Rosh Yeshiva. She falls to him from 2 sources. From the first brother, because nobody was ever miyabim her, and from the second brother, because the second brother performed maimer. So she becomes slightly his, not 100% his. And the Mishnah says, therefore, the Rosh Yeshiva cannot be miyabim her, or even the tzara. So they need chalitza. Says the Gemara. We're holding by the Gemara 5 lines from the bottom. Do you guys do this Mishnah? Because it was today's daf. So sorry. If you guys missed it, I'm sorry. I hope I explained it well enough for those who didn't learn it yet. Says the Gemara. If you're telling me that, as you see these 2 green arrows, that this woman in red comes from 2 sources. She comes from brother A, the guy on the side, and brother B, the other guy on the side. The 2 guys that went bye-bye, they send woman B to Yibum, to Naphtali, the Rosh Yeshiva. And a Yevama can only come from 1 source. It says in the Pasuk, Yevama umeis achad mehem. 1 dies, not 2 die. Yevama yavar yolah. Says Gemara, if that's so, you're bringing me a Pasuk. V'zikas shnei Yevam deraisa, you bring me a Pasuk for it. Chalitza nami lo tibai. Anytime the Torah tells you that a certain woman doesn't fall liyibam, why? Because she's the achoisisha, whatever it is, then there's no chalitza, there's no yibam, there's nothing. So why are you giving chalitza? Ella, says Gemara Midrabanan. You're right. This idea that it can't come from 2 sources is only the Rabbanan idea. And we're concerned, somebody sees this woman, Batya, yeah? The woman all the way to the right. They see that Naphtali's miyabim her. What are they going to say? They're going to say, 2 women who come from 1 household, you can marry both of them. Why? Because here you have a woman that came from 2 houses. First, she was married to Reuven, and she was Chayiv Ibam. Then she was married sort of to Shimon, and she's Chayiv Ibam. So people are going to get confused. Says the Gemara, okay, so why do both of them need Chalitza? So at least perform the mitzvah of Yibam to one of them. So you have two women, Batya and Bat Ayin, who both fall to Naphtali. Because Batya was Reuven's wife, Bat Ayin was Shimon's wife. At this point, they're both falling, they both died, so they both fall to Naphtali. And people are going to say that he could be Miyam to him. Says Gemara, so be Miyam one and give Chalitza to the other. Says the Gemara, we're on top of Daf Amud Beis, Amud Aleph. People will say that when two Yevamos come from one household, what you do is you miyabim one, and you have to do chalitza to the other. Yeah? If somebody's married to two women, think about it. Somebody in the time of the Gemara was married to two women, and he died without any children. So people are going to think that instead of just doing yibum to one and letting the other one go scot-free, you must perform chalitza to the other. No, so what's the big deal if they think that? What will happen? No, Marty, what do you say? That what? I thought that also for a second, but the Gemara says something different. Maybe even better. Says the Gemara, V'yayimru, let them say, let them speak. What's the worst thing? What? She's going to spit in the guy's shoe. Is that an avera? First, he's miyab and Rachel, and then Leah, they're going to, some Amar somewhere in Iowa is going to think you also have to do chalitza. No, it's not the biggest avera to do chalitza. It's not an avera at all. She removes the guy's shoe and she spits at the shoe. So, well, nothing happened. Says Gemara, you're right. If it's in that perfect order that the guy did yibum to Rachel and then later on they went to Bezdin and they thought you have to do chalitza, you're right. The problem is the concern is the opposite. That if he might do chalitza first, now he's done with his mitzvah, and after that he's going to do yibum. He's going to do both chalitza and yibum, but in the wrong order. Once you do chalitza, it's all over. You can't do any more yibum, and he's going to be over nisa deraisa shel yivna. If once you perform, if any yavam in the world that only has, let's say, one yavama, and you perform chalitza, and then he says, I want to marry her, I want to be mekayim the mitzvah, too late. Kivin shalei bana shuv le'yivna. Amar Rava nasaged l'mamaroi hutrut sarasa. So, look at this chart for a second. This is the case of the Mishnah. Shimon in the center, instead of doing what he needs to do, which is to be miyab in this woman, it could be he did what he was supposed to do according to Rabbanan. He gave Batya Kiddushin. He says, here's a ring. Now, in our days, there's no real yibum, but if there was yibum, that's what we would do. We do it in the proper way, make it real chasana, not just yibum. So he was trying to be polite. He gave her some kesef Kiddushin to make her feel good. And then we have the whole problem of the Mishnah, because he goes bye-bye, he goes sideways. What's the status of Batya? Is she his wife, or is she Reuven's wife? Or is she both? That was the problem. But says Rava, look what happens. What if he erases the mimer? He gets rid of it. How? By giving a get. Chalitza is for Yibum, get is for mimer. Does it erase completely? Here the Shiloh, it's a beautiful Shiloh. Does it erase completely his action of Maimer? He got rid of it completely and now we start from square one? Or perhaps no. Perhaps there's some sort of connection here. Says Rava, Nasan get l'mamari hutra sarasa. Bat ayin becomes mutter in yibum. The Mishnah says if he gave Maimer, bat ayin requires chalitza. And now we're saying, since he got rid of the Maimer to Batya, so she's not a co-wife anymore with Batayin, and Batayin, the middle one, in other words, Shimon's wife in the center, she could be misyabim. Aval he, but the original wife, Batya, the one in red, Asura. That doesn't help that you remove the Maimer. she's still not like her original self. The mechalfa bebalas get, I'm going to get confused with a woman, a Yevama who gets a get. Now, right? Because if you give a get to a Yevama, it's like chalitza. Over here, what's happening? It's not like chalitza. Why? Because he's giving her a get. Here, Rabbi says he's giving her a get just to remove the maimer. He says specifically, I'm giving you a get to remove the maimer, but you're still zkuka, you're still a Yevama. Nevertheless, it's also because I'm going to get confused and say, hey, look, people see she got a get. They're not going to know how to differentiate. They're going to say every Yevama that gets a get, if you want to, you give him Yavam afterwards, and you cannot. Says the Gemara, and some say, Nosan get the Mamoroi, Hutra Filuhi. Some say that if you get, Shimon gave Maimer, and then he gave a get to undo the Maimer, that's so powerful to get that it undid the whole Maimer, and she's back to step one, which means she's a perfect Yevama, and you can be Miyavimer. My timer, my Dovid va, whatever performance he did to her, meaning he gave Maimer, Shaklei, he took it away through the get. Says the Mishnah, Shnei.
This whole time?
What?
Where was the Zika the whole time? Remember, if we say Zika,
yeah.
Where was it during this whole time?
It just adds. It adds more. There is Zika. Look, there's two brothers there. In this case, there's two brothers. By doing Maimer, he is reserving her for himself.
Okay.
He's strengthening the Zika.
When he gives her a get.
He undoes the Maimer. It depends on what part of which way you learn Rava. But what we just learned is he undoes the Maimer completely 100%. And it's back to the original Zika. Now she's to both brothers. Either he could be Miyavimer, the other guy could be Miyavimer. Okay. Says the Mishnah. Shnei Yachim Nisum Shnei Achayis, as you see in the graph over here. Two brothers, two Baldwin brothers, married to two sisters. Umeis Echad Mehem, and one of the brothers went belly up. What happened? Oh, they're already schmoozing there. The official Mishnah sponsored by the MDY Tehillim Group, where we down for Refuah Shlema, Shidduchim, for Klal Yisroel, and for was that Yosef Biliak at 4 o'clock in the morning? Shkoyach. Join us at tehillim.imindav.com. What time is it in Eretz Yisrael? Like 5 already. I mean, we spent an hour trying to get the internet. What is it? No, it's 5:30. 5:30. What time is it, Yosef? Oh, it's 6:30. It is 6:30. Okay. So let's think about this. When Ruvain goes bye-bye, his wife Rachel falls to Yehuda. But she can't fall to Yehuda. Why can't she fall to Yehuda? Because it's a chaysisha. Yehuda's already married to a sister. And two sisters cannot be married to one man. But guess what? We remedied. There's a eitzah for this whole thing. What you poison Leah and she goes belly up, she goes sideways, bye. And now they're not once a sister dies, you're allowed to marry the other sister. You can't marry both, they can't both be alive at the same time. But you're allowed to marry her after she dies. But over here, he can never be miyabim her. Why? Because step before this, at this point when Reuven dies, he cannot be Yehuda, the guy with the smoke. Cannot be miyabim Rachel. Why? Because Rachel is achaysisha. She's the sister of his own wife Leah. So even though Leah goes sideways, he can never be miyabim Rachel, because once she was asitim for one moment, she's asitim forever. Great. Says the Gemara Pshita. What's the big chiddush? Look at this case. In this case, right over here, you have two brothers that are married to two sisters. But in this case, it's different than our Mishnah. Why? Because this case, we had this on Daf Lamed. This case has a third brother. And the third brother goes ahead and is miyabim Rachel. Reuven dies, just like in our case. He died. And then what happens? And then, mamish like in our case, but there's a third brother. And afterwards, Yehuda's wife dies. And then what happens after that? The middle brother dies. It's the same case like our case, but with three brothers. The difference is that instead of saying pushing off Yehuda, and we went through this whole sugya. So this is a freebie, kind of. It was only 2-3 days ago, but it's Daf Yomi. So we're doing a good chazar here. Says the Gemara, Hashtu, Ma'asam. In this case, look at Rachel. Is Rachel, when Rachel's husband goes sideways, like right over here, is she pushed off from Yibam forever? No. There's an option here. She could be married to the middle guy, Shimon. And that's exactly what happened. Shimon was miyabemer. You see the green line there? Shimon was miyabemer. And even so, you say that Rachel is forever usher to Yehuda, even if Yehuda's wife, who happens to be Rachel's sister. By the way, these are the most simplest cases in the world, but I realize that when you say it and you're spacing out, it sounds so confusing. Yehuda's wife, Rachel, who's Leah's Rachel's wife, sister, but it's really simple. You have two sisters that are married to two brothers. And one of them is a Yevama to the middle guy, Shimon. But Rachel is forever going to remain usher to Yehuda, the guy all the way on the left. Why? Because she was usher at one moment when Rachel's sister Leah was alive. Even though right now Leah is not alive, says the Gemara, isn't that a kavachomer? If in this case, when there's three brothers, and she wasn't pushed off from Yibam forever, she's still always usher to Yehuda. So certainly in a case where she's pushed off from Yibam forever, when there's only two brothers, like in this case, she can never be Misyabim Rachel. So of course she's pushed off from Yehuda. Asur Laila. Okay. Says the Gemara, you're 100% right. Tana Bereisha Vahach Chazia Le'Teira. What happened was we had a very similar answer, maybe the same answer. That the Tana said our Mishnah right here in Daf Amud Beis first. Why? Because he in fact believed that the Mishnah on Lamed with three brothers, she would eventually be mutter to Yehuda. Why? Because she was busy with Shimon. She got married to Shimon, and the fact that Yehuda had a wife that was her sister, that doesn't matter because today she's dead. And he thought that the Tana thought that Yehuda could be miyabemer. But then he had charata. And then he realized that he made a mistake, that she's pushed off forever. Once a Yavam cannot marry that woman, Rachel, for a second, he can never marry her. Why is this chaviv? Why is it so beloved to him? Like Rashi explained that Lamed also. This is a chiddush, and when somebody has a chiddush in Torah, he loves it. He gives him such hana. It's never ending. Torah is never ending hana. So therefore, not only does he love it so much, he put it in Daf Lamed before the real Mishnah, the original Mishnah, which is ours. Okay. The bigger chiddush is Daf Lamed, because she's available for Yibum. But once you put Mishnah Daf Lamed Beis into circulation and everybody memorizes the Mishnah over and over and over, millions of times, you can't take it out of the circulation, even though there's no chiddush to it.
Why doesn't it end up as a brisa?
What?
Why doesn't that end up as a brisa?
I don't know these things. Why? Because who said it wasn't Rabbi Yehuda Nasi? That's the Tana. The Tana that wrote the Mishnah loved it. It's not a brisa. He himself.
That refers to
yeah. Listen, Rabbi Isai, here's a massive sugya in Shas. This is the sugya. You hear? Don't fall asleep on me here. I know it's late at night. This is the sugya of Isur Chal al Isur. Right here in Chicago, and I said the story just a while ago. An unfortunate story happened to me. I was in Lakewood, and I invited a very, very good friend of mine for Shabbos. And I saw him walking down the block, and I went to open up the door for him and his wife. And he screams out, both of them together, they go, this Yom Kippur last week, we ate, I don't remember if he said Chazer, we ate Yom Kippur. He's so proud of himself. So like, What's the big deal? Ain't Isser Chalal Isser. So you ate pork on Yom Kippur and then this. You're not over more Yisur. What are you telling me? Who cares? Like I took out the air from his balloon. So that's the sugya today. Could you be over more Yisurim? You put more Yisurim on certain things. Are you over? That's one of the examples actually. Eating Nevelim Yom Kippur. Here's Stam a riddle. I'll throw it out a riddle. If anybody gets this riddle, you get 1,000 points. Actually, 10,000 points. How is it possible? You hear this? You go home on Shabbos, tell your family. How is it possible that if you do one action, you're over a Isser? But if you do, there's two Averis. This one is a Isser, this one is a Isser. But if you do them together, you're not over anything. It's very, very difficult riddle. But the riddle is, there's an Isser in the Avodah Zarah, it says that's also to look in a mirror. It also says it's also to go take a haircut by a non-Jew because he might slash your throat. But if you look in a mirror while you're at a Geisha barber, then it's mutter, because then you're making sure he doesn't slash your throat. Okay. That's an Isser on top of an Isser, which nothing is chal. Now, just in general, what's the issue with Isser al-Isser? Once I'm over something, let's say I'm being Mechal Shabbos. So to be Mechal Shabbos twice, maybe I'm not adding anything to the Isser. In order for something to be added, it needs to be wider. This is narrow. I need to make something wider to be, if it's just the same exact size, why should it be over more? So, Tan Rabbanan, Ba'aleh Chayav, look at this case. You have two brothers married to two sisters. When a woman is not a Yevama, she's your brother's wife, what's the Isser to be married to her? Eshazach. Only when there's a mitzvah, a makim mitzvah, we remove that Eshazach. What about this case? Two sisters, what Isser is there? Achois. Isha, if you're married to the other woman, now you have Achois Isha. So the Gemara asks and wonders, what happens when you're miyabim her against the halacha? Are you over on Eshazach plus Achois Isha? Are you over on Achois Isha and not Eshazach? Are you over on Eshazach and not Achois Isha? What's going on here? There's two separate arayas going on here. First of all, she happens to be your brother's wife. Second of all, she happens to be your wife's sister. What is her? And this is going to give us a sugya for like 2 days. And we're going to learn about Isra Moisef and Isra Kailul. Those are the two things. Hopefully, we have some sort of understanding after today's shir. Don't be worried. Don't get excited. What? What's the problem?
Well, I mean, if Reuben dies, then how is it Eshazach?
Because if you're Achois Isha, that's what I'm saying. If your that's right. If your daughter falls to you, if your daughter is married to your brother, not you, but somebody's daughter is married to a brother, and the brother dies, obviously you're not going to be miyabim her because she's your daughter. So over here also, you cannot be miyabim your wife's sister. You're going to be married to two women. Torah Rabbana, Ba'aleh Chayev Aleha Mishum Eshesach uMishum Achois Isha. Divrei Rabbi Yossi. Says Rabbi Yossi, Isser Chalal Isser over here. I'm going to take one Isser and top off on top of another. I'm going to take Yom Kippur and add Chazer, Nevela to it. So if a person does it by mistake, he's bring two korbanos. Or they kill him twice. But we'll see. We'll see real nafkeminas. No, not true. You're only chayev for Eshazach. You're not even chayev for Achois Isha. Says the Gemara, wait a minute, it's a contradiction. It says the exact opposite. It says that you're only chayev for Achois Isha and not for Eshazach. And on one hand, it says you're only chayev for Eshazach, not for Achois Isha. And so we have like three shittas here. We have Rabbi Yossi says you're chayev for both. We have one Reb Shimon says you're only chayev for Achois Isha, and one Reb Shimon says you're only chayev for Eshazach. What is going on here? Like Kasha, very, very simple. Kan shenosa chay v'achach nosa meis. Kan shenosa meis v'achach nosa chay. If the one that's alive, that stays alive, Yehuda, I forget, I'm not going to mess with you guys. I'm going to show you the chart because I figured, let me try to tell it to you about Peh, like other Maggid Shurim do, and it starts getting confusing. The guy that's alive, the guy that's died, it's so simple when you see it inside. Here you go. You have, thank you. The host has spotlighted my video for everybody. Shkoyach. I really appreciate host. I don't know what that means, but I really appreciate it. There are two sisters married to two brothers. Brother on the left, he's the guy that stays alive. He gets married first. One. So when he gets married, I should really put this over here so I'm not constantly turning my face. Okay. So when brother one gets married, what just happened? It happens to be that when we're looking at Rachel, the sister, he married Leah. What about the sister? What does she become? She becomes first a chaysisha. All the other brother Reuven, who's not married yet, he cannot marry Rachel because she is. Yehuda cannot marry Rachel because for Yehuda, Rachel is a chaysisha. Once Reuven gets married to the other sister, now there's another Isser called Eshzach. Which one happened first? Achois Isha happened first. And only afterwards, Eshzach. Again, start again. Yehuda married Leah. So Leah's sister is Achois Isha. Leah's sister Rachel, Yehuda cannot marry. So Achois Isha happened first. 10 months later, Reuven got married to this Rachel, which is already Achois Isha. Now he just turned her into his wife, which means she's a Eishes Ach. Yehuda cannot marry her again because she's Eishes Ach and Achois Isha. So it's 1 and 2, as you see over here. That's if Yehuda got married first. Oh, thank you. No, I set my alarm. I want to go to sleep on the plane for an hour. And so I think the time changed on my phone automatically. But it's okay, I didn't get to sleep because that's when my wife called me to tell me about the baby. Okay, so that's that. Says the Gemara. However, if first Reuven married Rachel, what is Rachel? Rabbi, is everybody together? Eshesach, thank you. And then when Yehuda marries Leah, we add to the Eshesach, we add one more Isser called Achois Isha. Says the Gemara. So it makes a difference who married who first. It makes sense now? It's very clear. When you have charts, it's clear. V'Reb Shimon, in this case, yeah, go back here. Reuven marries Rachel first. And then, only afterwards, Yehuda married the sister. Even this, ask the Gemara a very interesting question. Look at this. What is this woman right here, Rachel? If we look at the picture right here, what's Rachel? Only an Eshesach. When a person dies, the Eshesach is removed. And if she's an Eshesach, and according to Reb Shimon, you can only have one Aveira called Eshesach. So when you want to try to add another Aveira called Achois Isha, it doesn't add to it. You can't add another Issa to it. It's like trying to add Yom Kippur to a piece of Nevela. It's not going to go. It's only Nevela. So over here, this woman Rachel is only Eshesach. Then, after a second, Yehuda marries Leah and she turns into Achois Isha. It didn't work. Halachically, she's not Achois Isha, she's only Eshesach. So guess what happens? When Reuven dies, asks the Gemara, Yehuda should be able to be Miyabim Rachel because she's a Eshesach, and Eshesach is removed by the death of her husband. What's the obvious answer? I don't know if it's so obvious. The what? No, he holds the Ein Issachar. Reb Shimon says only one Isser. Reb Shimon argues with Rabbi Yossi from the beginning. Look inside. Reb Shimon Omer nechayev ala mishum Eshesach bilvad or Achois Isha bilvad. Depends who dies first. But it's only one. Says the Gemara beautifully. Listen to the Svara. Amar Ravashi, Isra Achoisisha Midla Tali V'Kai. Use the lashon standby. Achoisisha is on standby. The moment you're going to take away Eishazach, Achoisisha is going to pop right in there. It can't go together. You can't add it to Eishazach. You're only chayiv misa for Eishazach. You only bring one carbon for Eishazach. But if you want to get rid of the Eishazach because the brother died, then the Chazisha will pop right in. It's not like you got rid of it and destroyed it and disintegrated, it'll never come back. It's there. It's on standby. If you're going to get rid of Eishazach, and it's going to be chal on it. Says Gemara, what Rabbi Yossi says, in our case, again, two brothers married to two sisters. One brother went ahead and he wasn't allowed to marry the sister because she's a chaysisha and she's a ishasach. Rabbi Yossi says, how many are you chayev? Two, because Isser Chalal Isser. Ask the Gemara, Vatanya, Avar Avera Shesh B'Shtei Misais. If a person was over an Avera that has two different types of misas, Nida Mechamura, you give him the more severe death penalty. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Nidan Bezika Harishayna Ba'alav. Depending what was first, okay, not what's stronger, but what was first. Betanya, Keitza, what's the case? Sorry, you're supposed to say any question, Mr. What's the case? If he married his mother-in-law, which is Issa Deraisa, what do you get for marrying a mother-in-law? What Misa? It's Daf Beis, Amud Beis. Anybody remember? The Gemara says why the Mishnah should start with Chamoisai because it has the most Chomer Misa, which is Sreifa. According to Mandom, you're right. Skila is the fine, but it says Sreifa over there. Chamoisai Sreifa, and Eishasish is what? What do you get for Eishasish? Chenek. How do you know?
How do I know? We learned first in school. Also, I also learned Mishnah and Yevamos.
The Eli from Chicago, the kid that stumped me. Very good. But you're not allowed to correct your father, right? If your father tells you something, you're not allowed to correct him. So also you're not allowed to scream out in the shir in public when your father doesn't know the answer. It also embarrasses him. Okay, no, but he's proud of you, right? Yeah, he lets you. He looked in the art scroll, and at the end of the day, he peeked in the art scroll. I got it.
No, why did I do that?
Why would he do that? Oh, so you hear the case? Check this unbelievable case out. You have two Burka ladies. The upper one is the mother, the bottom one is the daughter. When Shimon marries the Burka lady, the one in black, then his mother-in-law, the one in white, becomes usher to him. She's a mother-in-law. And if he marries her, he's over on Chamoisai. What happened was, a minute later, she got married. She was a widow. She obviously used to be married, because otherwise she wouldn't have Burka in black. But she's a widow. She married the dentist from the 5 towns. But that happened in the second stage. So Eishes Ish happened after the mother-in-law Isser. What happens if it was the opposite? She was married to the dentist. It makes a lot of sense. The guy from 5 towns with a Burka and a white thing. So, and then only afterwards, so that's Isser Eishes Ish. Nobody's allowed to marry Burka woman in white because she's Eishes Ish. Then even Shimon, and then Shimon gets married to her daughter. The Isser of mother-in-law comes afterwards. So it depends what order. Did she get married before or she got married after? Very, very simple. Says, so on that Rabbi Yossi says, depends what comes first. Whatever. If mother-in-law comes first, she gets what? Sreifa. If Eishes Ish comes first, she gets Chenek. Very good. Good. Says the Gemara, Eishes Ibn-As Chamois and Eishes Ish. So what do you see from here? You see that Rabbi Yossi holds it's only one or the other. You don't get both these surim. Depends what comes first. How come in our sugya, when there's a Eishes Ach and a Chaysisha, Says Rabbi Yossi over on both. Amar Avo, my dear Rabbi Yossi, Bisr Moisef, have a wonderful day. I'm out of here. Okay. Woo. Okay. First, let's try to delay this thing for a little bit. Amud Beis sponsored in honor of by Moshe Horn in honor of Jolly Joe Krause. In fact, I believe he makes up these names. Jolly Joe Krause and the family in honor of Ed Kinsbursky, Brian Kinsbursky, and Ari Miller for learning the Daf. Now, Isser Moisef. What does Isser Moisef mean? So think about it. Very, very, very simple. Isser Moisef means that, like I explained before, you cannot add one Isser to another Isser if it doesn't do anything. But if you add some width, don't leave by Isser Moisef Tzadik. What are you doing? If you add more Isser or more people to this Aveira, you have an Aveira, now you're adding more people to it or more Isser to it, so that because it added more people, so it's going to add to you as well. Until now, you wanted to add Yom Kippur to Nevela, it's not going to go. But if you're adding more people to it, we'll give an example. When you're adding more people, so then it does have the ability to add to the Aveira, because you're adding more people. More people now, because, what do you mean adding more people? You're adding another Aveira, another Aveira, which adds to this Aveira, more people, more things. So here you go. Look at this right over here. You have two sisters married, two sisters. One is married to Yehuda. So this woman, Rachel, is aser to Yehuda as a chaysisha. But she's mutter to the other brothers. She's mutter to all brothers. Now, when she gets married, Rachel gets married, now we add Isser Eshesach. That Isser Eshesach just added more brothers to it. Now, because of this Isser Eshesach, Shimon is also Aser to Rachel. A second ago, look, Rachel was mutter. You see? Rachel can marry Shimon. She's unmarried. She's only Aser to one brother because of a chaysisha. She's only Aser to the one that married her sister. But she's not Aser to all the other brothers that didn't marry the sisters. But once Reuven steps in and he adds an Isser called Eshes Ach, what does Eshes Ach do? Obviously, you're not allowed to marry your brother. Now, she just added a Isser to Shimon. You see the red line to Shimon? So that's an Isser Moisef. It adds an Isser also to Yehuda. You see, until now, Yehuda was Aser to this woman, Rachel. So I'm saying you can't add anything. He's Aser to her. What's the difference if I can't eat this food because it's Chazer, I can't eat this food because it's Yom Kippur? You could add a bunch of different things, but the bottom line is I'm Aser to eat this food. Yehuda is Aser to be married to this Rachel. So what's the difference if I add Eshesach to it? And if I add another thing and I add that it's his daughter and I add that it's his aunt, that it's his mother-in-law, he's Aser to be with this woman and finished. Why is he Aser? Because it's a chaysisha. It happens to be, she's his wife's sister. So the fact that I'm adding Eshesach doesn't do anything. But in this case, it does do something. Why? Because I'm an Isser Moisef. I'm adding an Isser to other people. So once I'm adding an Isser, Eshesach makes other brothers Aser to her. Until now, all the brothers were mutter to her. The chaysisha is a personal thing between you, your wife, and your wife's sister, but the other brothers have nothing to do with it. Once I add Eshesach makes all the brothers Aser to Rachel. So once she's Aser to all the brothers, I'm going to add that Isser and give it also to Yehuda. It has the power. It's like a migui that she became Aser to the other brothers. So I'm also going to add a little bit and give more of an Isser to Yehuda. Now he has two Isurim. You hear what Rav Yossi is saying? Rabbi Isai, it's Mardik. It's Mamash Gishmak. No, seriously. This is not a guy, this is Gishmak stuff. Listen, Nachama. Rabbi Yossi says, Ein Isser Chalal Isser. Typically, I can't put one Isser on top of another. It doesn't add anything. But when it does add, how does it add? Because it just added more brothers into the picture. Then even Rabbi Yossi will agree, Isser Chalal Isser, then I'm going to add the Isser Veshesach and put it on top of Achos Isha. Beautiful. Now we know what Isser Moisef is. Says the Gemara. That's great in the first case. If we go back over here, right over here, you see step 1, the guy that's alive, meaning Yehuda. And then Ruvain married her. So what happened first? Achos Isha happened first. And now I'm adding Ishasach. That's mamish what we just explained. I'm adding the Isser Ishasach on top of the Achos Isha. Since I'm adding Isser to the other brothers, it does Isser Lagabi Didei. But if it's in this case where what happened was Ruvain married her first, so the Isser Ishasach happened first, and only afterwards the Isser of Achos Isha happened. Look, you see in this picture, all of them have Isser Ishasach now on Rachel. So what did you add? You didn't add anything to Yehuda. Maybe I'll say, check this out. Achvasa over here means sisters. Maybe because Yehuda got married to one sister called Leah in step 2. Now all of Leah's sisters became Asur. Hayisur Kailal. That's the Isser to learn in Kailal. That's Chas v'Shalom. I don't want to hear any emails. I have a Kailal. I support Kailal. I love Kailal, and I'm going to add more to Kailal. What?
The computer?
As soon as I said Kailal, this goes over here. Oh, this is not going to come out so easy. No. Oh my God. Okay, I don't know what to do. Let me just lower this real start. You're not going to get it out. No. Okay, let's finish the daf real quickly. So, Isser Koil means that I'm not adding an Isser to this chayfetz that I have. I'm adding other things, other women. I'm not looking at this. Isser Moisev means this woman, Rachel, or it could be food. It could be an object. This object, this woman, this Isser. Okay, people are going to take it the wrong way. This Isser for me as a man, I can't marry this woman. She's Isser to me. I'm adding to her. I'm adding an Isser to her. Before she was a Choisisha, now I'm adding to her Eshesach. I'm not doing that now. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the man. I'm saying other women are Isser to you. Instead of saying this piece of food, it's not only in the veil, it's also in Kippur. I'm saying, oh, now you're Isser to those pieces of food over there. That's Isser Koilo. And that, Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold that you add a Isser to Isser. Ha Isser Koilo. El Amar Rava, says Rava Pshat. Malani olav kilos shtayim. In Pshat Rabbi Yossi is, I pretend that he did 2, and he's only chayav for 1. What does that mean? At the end of the day, it's as if he was over 2. He was as if he was over Choisisha and Eshesach, but he's only chayav for 1. What does that mean? The cover ben Rishoyim Gemurim, believe it or not, all people that die, capital punishment in Bezdin. You hear? Sure, you hear this? The what? There's two batik faras. Yeah. No. Very good.
I did not get from your scroll.
But it's also in our scroll. Should be.
It should be, but I did not get it.
Okay, but mashma she'omar that this you didn't get. Mashma the first one you did.
Yes,
Okay.
the first one I did.
Oh, first one.
I mean, half.
He also waited for his father to leave before he stole.
Very good, very good. Yeah. He said that he asked his father. His father's actually not here now. That's why he's able to speak up. So There are two bati kfaras for Sreifa and Chenek.
No, straight from skill.
Sreifa and Skila, very good. Sreifa and Skila, no, he's right. Sreifa and Skila. And for Hereg and Chenek. In other words, the Rishayim Gemurim, these are people that die from the death penalty, but there's categories. There's good and there's bad. And if you're real, so Mamela over here also, if you're really, really bad and you were with Chamoisai came first, we're only going to bury you in this basic forest with the really bad guys. But if you get Chenek, then you're in the other basic forest. That's the whole nafkamina. Says the Gemara. Now we're coming to very, very easy Gemara. Seriously. We're going to say the same thing 3 times in a row, literally word for word, with a slight variation in the beginning. And this machlaikis of Isser Koilis and Moisef, as the Gemara is going to describe tomorrow, it's a machlaikis. Ditmar. Zor Sheshimish b'Shabbos. Here we go. Another case of Isser Koilis. You have a Yisroel. Typically, only a kohen can perform the Avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. But a Yisroel did the Avodah in the Beis Hamikdash on Shabbos. Now a kohen could perform the Avodah in the Beis Hamikdash on Shabbos. But you're not a kohen. You have no business being here. So, A, you're being Mechal Shabbos. B, you're performing the Avodah. You did 2 bad things in one shot. Listen to this, literally word for word, what we're going to say here. Even these words. Reb Chia says Yechayev twice for Zar and Shabbos. And Bakapar says only one. Chafatz Reb Chia v'nishba, comes Reb Chia and swears, ha'avodah. This is a lashon in all of Shas, meaning it's a shvua. But avodah over here could really fit in because we're talking about avodah Beis Hamikdash. Like, as clear as the avodah is, that's how I'm swearing. Kach shamati mi Rebbe. I heard this from the author of the Mishnah, Rebbe himself. Shtayim. Chayv 2. Kavaz bakapar v'nishba. Somebody's saying a shvua sheker here. Ha'avodah. I swear. Kach shamati mi Rebbe. I heard from the same source that you're saying. Achas. Now, this exact story repeated 3 times in a row. Hidche Rebbe Chia Ladun Shabbos L'Kol Nesra. So he says, what are you talking about? Let me prove to you I'm right. Shabbos is also for everybody because Shehutra, when you're allowed to be Mechal Shabbos, let's say, cut an animal's neck, on Shabbos it's also to cut an animal, to cut anybody, to cut yourself. But it's mutter b'migdash, it's a kohanim mutter only for kohanim. Look, kohanim mutter v'lelazar, but it wasn't a mutter for the Yisroel. Yesh kamishum zarus, yesh kamishum Shabbos. So therefore, I'm mechayev him twice because Shabbos. Don't look at it as the guy did one problem that he was only doing avodah in the Beis Hamikdash when he was Yisroel. No, he's mechal Shabbos. Oh, but the kohen is allowed to be mechal Shabbos. Yeah, because the kohen is performing avodah. Shkoyach. If let's say a mile, he's allowed to do milah on Shabbos. That means that if you don't know what you're doing, you're allowed to start cutting pieces and trying things out. You don't know what you're doing, so of course you're mechal Shabbos. I didn't mean it like that. What are you guys laughing? Bunch of perverts here in Chicago. Shabbos like Nesra. So now Bakabar says the opposite. Shabbos is also the Torah said you're allowed to do avodah in the Beis Hamikdash for everybody. It's the only problem is that the Yisroel did the avodah. Same exact thing we're going to do in. Same exact thing. Wow, my son Akiva's calling me. Shalom Aleichem, Reb Akiva. First time I ever got a phone call from you, but it's a middle shir. How are you doing?
Oh, he's in the middle of shir?
The middle shir. I'll catch you a little bit later, okay? I love you. Bye. Ain't got Elazar's. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Literally, the first time he's called me in his life. How is he supposed to know 11 o'clock at night? He probably called the same Mazel Tov. Okay. Now, Rabbi said, you know this one, you know the next 2, literally word for word, I'm not exaggerating. Baal mum sheshimish betuma. A kohen, not Yisroel, but it's the same idea. He's a kohen that's missing an arm, and he's doing the avodah when he's tamei. On a weekday, not Shabbos. So how many Yisurim is he being over here? First of all, he's a Baal mum, he shouldn't be performing avodah. Second of all, he's tamei. Reb Chia Omer Chayv 2 is Chayv 2. Reb Bakapar Omer Chayv Alach is only 1. Kavas Reb Chia v'nishba ha'avodah kach shemati mi Reb 2. I swear I heard 2. Kavas Bakapar v'nishba ha'avodah kach shemati mi Reb Achas. It's 1. Hidcha Reb Chia Lodon, he said Tumala Kol Nesra. It's also for everybody to perform. This concept that I'm allowed to perform avodah bituma, tumah b'tzibur, is only with a kohen. It's only a kohen that doesn't have a mum, so therefore it doesn't apply to you, balmum, and you're chai for two. Yesh kam mishum balimumim, yesh kam mishum tumah. Hitchu b'kapar ladon, and he says the opposite tumah la kol nesra. At the end of the day, tumah b'tzibur for everybody in every case. Misvar, what do you guys think? Who's right here? I'm thinking. To me, one of the two makes sense. Anybody here have an opinion, one way or the other? Anybody? No? Okay. First one. I also like the first one. But who am I? Now, another case. Zor shochal malika. I forgot to print the picture or show the picture, but malika is when the kohen takes his thumb and puts his nail right through the back of the neck of the bird. Now, if you were to do that and sell it in the store here in Jewel, what is that called? Nevela. Yeah, it's nevela because there's no shchita. It's a dead bird. It's a killed bird. You shot the bird in the head. You put your finger through its neck. That's not shchita. But in the Beis HaMikdash, it's mutter, and that's the only way to do it when you're doing a chatas and other, with birds. So, and a chatas, a kohen could eat. So what happened is, we have a guy here, Zar, Yisroel, Shochal Malika, he's Yisroel, he's not allowed to eat this bird. It's a chatas, it's only for a kohen, it's kachim, and so is it considered that it's nevela? A. B. It's kachim. Two problems. So we're going to go fast because we did this already. Rabbi Chia says he chayiv 2. Rabbi Kapara says in chayiv alachas. In all three times he jumped and he swore. 2. I swear. At the end of the day, no one is allowed to eat a nevela, a bird that's head is chopped off. The only time Akash said it's mutter is when you do it in the Beis HaMikdash. Look at Zarim. That's only a special head there for a kohen and not for Yisroel. Yesh kam mishum zar, yesh kam mishum malika. Therefore, you chayiv 2. Hitcha b'kapar lado nevela kol nas v'shudra b'mikdash shudra and kan elo mishum zarus. Have a wonderful day. Shkoyach. Wow.